Well, hello again. It's Pamela Sullivan here from Downtown and Around Online Lifestyle Magazine, and we're having our conversation today under Live Your Best Life, and always trying to bring you content and those out in the world doing some wonderful things that will help you to live your best life. And today's guest, I'm really excited to have her with us because she's bringing a topic that's really true and glued to my own heart, as I know it is to many of you, and it's the topic of happiness. There's been a lot of conversation around what that actually means, and my guest today, who is dubbed the Sherpa of Happiness, will help us clearly define what that means a little bit better. So I'd like to introduce to you Valerie Sheppard, who is the Sherpa of Happiness, and I read a little bit of Valerie's bio so you have a better understanding of exactly who she is. Valerie Sheppard teaches life mastery skills featuring her four-step Happy to Be Me process that help young people have more happiness, fulfillment, and success. Her curriculum is designed for the 15 to 25-year-old age group, and she intends to take it global through the 501c3 nonprofit she founded called Heart's Awakening. Valerie is an inspirational keynote speaker, published author, university professor, certified laughter yoga instructor, and member of an award-winning professional improv comedy troupe. Her latest book, Living Happy to Be Me, is due out this summer. Valerie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Pam. I'm so excited to be here. Awesome.
Well, you know, I've been following you for a few years now online and always highly touched by the content that you put out, especially your little sound bites around the topic of happiness. And I think that's what really drew me in the beginning to start following you on places such as Facebook. So Valerie, I want to ask you, what brought you to the topic of happiness, and why are you known as the Sherpa of this wonderful topic?
Great. Okay, so I became the Sherpa of Happiness because I was coaching someone who was having some difficulty in his life. And through our conversations, he was a little bit surprised. He kind of felt like, well, I feel like I'm getting guided, and I know where I'm headed now, and you've done it really well. And the cool thing that was surprising to him was that it wasn't that difficult or debilitating. A lot of people feel like when they go into coaching, in a coaching environment, that they're going to have to dig up so much old stuff that it's not going to be really pleasant. And a lot of people don't want to confront their old stuff. Like, there's a lot of wound out there that is amplified, and people aren't willing to kind of do whatever it takes to quiet it because it's potentially yucky stuff. So he was kind of surprised that we went through whatever his stuff was, and that it wasn't a horrible experience. It was enlivening for him, and encouraging and inspiring for him. And so he said, you know, you're kind of like the Sherpa of Happiness, and that's how it stuck. And I got to talking about happiness because I discovered I wasn't very happy at a point in my life, and it became sort of a quest to figure out where that unhappiness came from, why I thought I was happy when I wasn't. All those things became major questions that I decided I would go on a discovery mission about.
Okay. Valerie, tell us a little bit about your program, Happy to Be Me, your journey towards that particular program and what it entails.
So Happy to Be Me has got some dynamics just in the title. So happy is around happiness, but it's at a highest level of happiness, which on a spiritual level would be called joy. So joy, bliss, that kind of living, the kind of authentic happiness that is not conditional. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It's just your state of being. And then the B part is about kind of disconnecting from all the doingness in the world. We spend a lot of time, especially in the Western world, doing and going and doing and going, and before we know it, that's all we are. Like, we are just a human doing as opposed to a human being. So the being, in the course of the work that I do, we practice getting into a state of just being as opposed to doing. And then the last thing, the ME is capitalized, so it's an acronym that stands for Magnificent Essence. And that's about connecting to the spiritual, the divine nature of ourselves, where we're actually living and breathing on the planet as integrated spiritual human beings, not just I'm only human kind of stuff. And so I've got this four-step process, and the four steps are: wake up to the truth of who you are, so recognize the real you, not just the created you through your conditioned patterns of belief and behavior. And the second step is shake up and release everything that's out of alignment with that. So shaking up is about kind of being willing to acknowledge where there's ideas about ourselves, identity, personality, other things, our stories about ourselves that really aren't reflecting that divinity, and being willing to let them go. That creates the vacuum for step 3, which is create the new story. What's the new, real, more true, more divine, integrated story of you and your life, and how does that show up? So what's your new personality, your new identity? How are you reshaping that idea? So that's the makeup step. Step 4 is take up, which is about doing the practices, like being that. How do you support yourself in this new story of who you are and how your life's going to evolve, so that you actually do get what you want and you are actually happy while you're doing it?
You know, I love that, especially the explanation around the steps to the process, and I sort of glammed on to number 3 and creating your new story. That's where I currently find myself, because all of my life I had a particular story of who I was in the world, and would get triggered around some points around that story because I thought I needed to do that. It was a habit, and almost an addictive habit to a degree. And like any addiction, it's really about learning some coping mechanisms to move past it and shed it. And so I like the fact that you have a 4-step process around this to help us, because we think you're either happy or you're not happy. And it's the lucky ones out there that are happy somehow, and the rest of those that are not somehow are unlucky. But there is a way to get happy, and this is what you're basically bringing to us, is how to do that in a way that that is meaningful, purposeful, and you have a little bit of control over that, and not what goes on around you. So, you know, kudos for having done that. And Valerie, can you help us sort of shed a light on in ways people tend to sacrifice their happiness?
Oh, sure. And I did it a lot of my life, right? And it comes from kind of what you were talking about, these conditioned patterns of behavior and belief. And, you know, when you think about a habit or an attachment to a habit, it comes from practicing it over and over to the point where we think that is all there is, or at least that is the right way. That is the thing. That's what works for me. That's how I do it. That's all those ways that we show up believing this is it. And so we sacrifice. I mean, I sacrificed my true inner joy and outer bliss by being a workaholic through some of my beliefs about my capabilities and my worthiness that made me constantly trying to prove myself. I would get to one success point and then boom, I'd be right back into the but I gotta. The ways that I would not listen to my inner voice and my inner voice would be saying, no, I don't think you want to do that, or no, don't do that, and I'd still be going, yeah, but rationalizing a way to do things and not really truly listening to what my heart was calling me into. So I think there's people sacrificing money for all manner of things, safety, sacrificing happiness for all manner of things, money being one of them, safety, security, being liked, feeling like they're respected, feeling like they have companionship, getting rid of fear. So it can be very subconscious, and it can also be incredibly pervasive, where you actually are turning away from the things that could really hold your ultimate happiness for things that only are holding conditional happiness or time-limited happiness. And I've actually even had someone tell me, I'm happy enough. And that was a very sad conversation with a client, in fact, who I was like, happy enough. Like, we're settling for this, whatever this is, with its ups and downs and whatever else, as all there is. And so I can see it being sacrificed in a number of ways, primarily fear.
Well, of course, and we do tend to settle, or we trade our happiness because we believe that we need to be out in the world striving for things. When I receive the degree, when I receive the job, when I receive the things, the toys, I used to be on that same track too. And I remember thinking, oh, those pair of shoes. That the reason I'm not feeling good is I don't have those pair of shoes. And I would get the shoes, or the handbag, or the pen, or whatever crazy thing I thought, and I would have a momentary high, and which would quickly dissipate within moments. And I'm right back to where I started. It was not lasting, as you mentioned.
Exactly, and I can so relate to that. I mean, I've been in the same place. Like, this new thing comes in, and before I know it, it's in the back of the closet, and I haven't worn it, or I haven't done anything with it.
Yes, and I think based on media and the stories we're told about who you want to be out in the world, I think a lot of people are starting to buy into that or have bought into that, and now the trek is to go backwards. And thus the word Sherpa, a guide that helps us get past that particular mountain.
Exactly. Come with me. Come with me. I will show you the way. Yes, there is
beautiful. Valerie, let's talk about Heart Vibe. What's Heart Vibe?
So Heart Vibe is what I used to talk about, the guidance system that's in the heart. So I'm a heart math practitioner, soon to be certified, and what heart math teaches is the guidance, leadership, and intuitive power that is the natural presence in the heart. And I'm talking about the physical heart, and it's been studied. Heart math has done studies that show that the heart has an electromagnetic field surrounding it that is 40 times more powerful than the electromagnetic field surrounding the brain. So a lot of times, especially like in happiness work, there can be a lot of focus on the brain and positive psychology and how do you short circuit anything that's negative. Well, you just shift your belief system, shift your thoughts, be more positive, and your happiness expands. And there are scientific reasons for that. You know, your thoughts can create releases in the brain, serotonin, all kinds of different things can happen. But in fact, our heart and how we're feeling, our feelings are actually our most powerful guidance. So, you know, Wayne Dyer talks about, and I teach spiritual wisdom, so Wayne Dyer talks about it in terms of you want to feel good, that's your way of actually feeling the divine. That's God moving through you, is that energy of goodness that you feel when you're in a certain environment or you're doing a certain thing or you're experiencing something or expressing something. And oftentimes, you know, we're taught the heart is too mushy, it'll take you down the wrong path. Listen to your brain, that powerful intellect. And the intellect is very powerful, and the conscious mind is very powerful, but it's not as powerful as our intuitive sense of what's right for us in any given moment. The intuitive sense is much more tuned to who we are individually, and the conscious mind can often be much more in tune with collective consciousness and kind of they say ... fill in the blank, this is what I should do at this moment. And so the heart vibe is about connecting in with this powerful guidance system in the center of our chest, listening to that still small voice that resides there, and being willing to feel our emotions relative to what's going on around us so we can hear the message around whether it's right for us or whether it's not so right for us.
Nice. Valerie, you've gone through some tremendous transformations in your life yourself. Being the daughter of a business Marine, God traversed the world of corporate and executive in corporate America to that of a happiness coach. Share a little bit of your journey with us.
It's been quite a dynamic and transformative process. In some cases, it has felt like a roller coaster ride. You know, so if I contrast my earlier life with the me that I'm expressing in my life today, they're very different. So growing up in a high disciplinarian household, daughter of a U.S. Marine and a Department of Defense mom, and really in the 60s, so at a time when I think black parents were teaching their children things that were rooted in how to stay alive as a black person in this country. And, you know, picking up little nuggets of kind of unworthiness and questions around your existence. Like black people have to work twice as hard to get half as much. Like little things like that, those little thoughts that get peppered through your experience. So I think I grew up maybe not really liking being black, and we always lived in very predominantly white neighborhoods, and a lot of stuff around being me and feeling comfortable in my skin and feeling safe in my skin and creating behaviors to make me feel safer. I became very articulate so that people would judge me by the way I spoke, not the way I looked. I became a go-getter, get things done. Again, all about making sure people saw me for more than the first impression that they would get. In contrast that, and I was very successful. I had a lot of success happening in my life. I was captain of lots of different teams. I was a leader. I was counted on to do a lot of things. And when I got into corporate America, I was promoted very quickly, got up the corporate ladder, became a vice president of a big corporation running, I don't know, $900 million worth of business. But I wasn't very happy. High stress, high blood pressure. There were momentary experiences of happiness, the conditional kind, you know, getting a promotion, graduating from grad school, you know, getting an award, finishing a project. All those things gave me momentary happiness, but I always kind of get back to this place like, what is my life supposed to be about? And then there was this seminal moment where I ended up in a hospital here in Southern California thinking I was having a heart attack. And I wasn't having a heart attack. There had been some clear things going on with my heart, but they weren't bad enough to be a heart attack. I was later diagnosed with a benign superarrhythmia, which basically means there's something going on with your heart that's pretty serious, but it's not physiological. And so that made me ask the questions, well, this is interesting. So there's stuff happening with me that are clearly physiological that have no physiological basis. They shouldn't be happening if it were just for my physiological system. So I had always been spiritual, so I went to there. I went to that place. What's going on with me? Whose life am I living? What's happening within me that is causing what I'm experiencing to be so powerful? And through that journey with different spiritual teachers, different workshops, retreats, a lot of introspection, and then, you know, writing a book, I got to the place of seeing, wow, I was a very hard-nosed, somewhat hard on myself, constricted heart, not really feeling comfortable in the vulnerability of unconditional love or loving myself. And I've just shifted that. So I think I'm night and day. People say I'm much more approachable today. My old staff would say, sometimes you just seem so angry. We don't want to approach you and ask you questions or point out potential problems. And today I think people feel me much more inviting and approachable, a lot more fun. I can laugh at myself now. Improv comedy helps me do that. And much more comfortable in my own skin, whatever color I am. I know that my identity has been elevated. So I see myself first and foremost as a divine being, here to share light and love, and race and gender and, you know, titles on campus or whatever else are a lot less meaningful to me. They don't give me a sense of who I am.
Wonderful. You're speaking and I'm smiling on the other end here, only because your journey sounds almost identical to what I went through, especially the part where you ended up in a situation, a health situation, and you had to start questioning very quickly what this was all about. I had the same thing happen where I had to make a promise when I was in the hospital saying that if I know why I'm having this problem, and I will change my mind if I get to leave here.
Mm.
And when I left, it was a matter of following through on the promise that I made to myself mainly. And that made all the difference in the world. So Valerie, can you share a couple of things that can help us get or be on the road to happiness right now?
Sure thing. Okay, so I've got two practices that are central in my sense of inner peace and wellness, which to me leads to this feeling of, you know, I can conquer anything. The world is my oyster, you know, that kind of blissful happiness in the midst of cars breaking down and clients who don't pay and whatever else might happen in the day-to-day. So the first one is gratitude. So the act of purposefully putting oneself in the energy of gratitude shifts your vibration. And it shifts your vibration in such a way that you actually can attract a lot more of the things you want, the things that actually can be foundations for that blissful feeling to go on and on. So I have a gratitude practice first thing in the morning, before I go to bed at night, constantly through the day. I'm thinking of what is there to be grateful for in this moment. And I've gotten to the place of even looking at problems, looking through them for where's the gift. There's got to be a gift in here because it's showing up for a reason. So there's something I can gain by paying attention to it and then I go into gratitude about that. And the second thing is about silence, like really being able to disconnect from the conscious mind, quiet down a little bit, go inside and hear my intuitive voice, that voice that is the divine moving through me and speaking about what is really the truest aspect of what I need right in the moment. And when I do those two things together, it's very powerful, and I feel different. You know, someone a long time ago said, prayer isn't about changing the outer world, it's about changing the inner world. Like, you change you through prayer. And that's what I do through gratitude and silence. It's my time to change my vibration and do something from me to me.
Very nice, very nice.
Very nice.
Valerie, you have a book coming out this summer.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that.
It's right here. I've got the, can you see this? I've got a friend of mine gave me this frame, and this is the book cover, Living Happy to Be Me, Dancing Your Soul Light Style. And it's the Happy to Be Me 4 steps, but because I don't believe there's anything that is this important in one's life, like shifting your life, it's not a once and you're done kind of exercise, it's about a way of life. And so the book is about 300 pages. It's a combination of teaching, so here's the way to do this, and then a journal and handbook with like action steps and a place to write down practices and how things are going, so that you can actually do this as a way to create a practice, a lifestyle for yourself. And we called it Dancing Your Soul Light Style instead of Lifestyle, because I believe the steps, when they're really put into action, people tell me that they lighten up and let go, so they're lightening up their lives, the baggage is less controlling of them, the woundology is breaking away, their storytelling is very different about who they are in their lives, and they feel like they're bringing light in. So they're lightening up and more light is coming in, so their lives are getting easier. The more of what they want is showing up, less of what they don't want is showing up, and it feels easy and peace-filled and grace-filled. And so we're very excited about it, and right now it's looking like we're on a June to July, a summer timing for launch.
Very nice. And I think a lot of people are interested in that lightening up feeling, bringing in more peace into their lives, because life is hectic. Life is a hustle right now. There's no doubt about that. But in the midst of all of that, there's still an opportunity to bring that happiness peace in. And I'm loving that you're showing us and giving us the tool to do that. Thank you.
Yes. I'm really excited about it.
Good. Valerie, how can we follow you after this conversation?
There are a couple ways. So I have an online community that I love interacting with. You can get to it by going to heartfulawakenings.com, heartfulawakenings.com, Heartful Awakenings. And you can sign up to be in my online community, and you'll get monthly inspirational messages, specials on any of the things that are available in my e-shop, and I do a monthly complimentary coaching call. So, and we actually take Q&A and have a coaching moment, and that's a group coaching thing, so people can keep spiraling themselves up. And if you go to happytobeme.net, there's also a link to advance purchase the book. So we are offering advance purchase orders, and when the book comes out, you'll get shipped one right away, hot off the press. And that, if you advance purchase, then we'll be able to sign them.
Wow. I look forward to receiving my copy of it, and I really want to begin that practice. I have a practice already to help me do the whole gratitude piece, to bring some interesting things to my life, but I'm always looking for additional pieces to spiral me up. You know, once you get to one level in your life, it's about what's next.
It really is, and I feel like what we've often done in the past is made the what next about something out there. You said it earlier, when the kids graduate, or when I finish this, or when I do that. And the Happy to Be Me living is about making the what next about what's next for me, like what's next for me, by me, through me, as opposed to, you know, how do I go out there and get something. That may eventually be a part of the what's next, but starting with what is a part of my deep inner fulfillment and happiness that also through which I may also create success, visibility, whatever else, but be doing it from that inner growth, that inner aspect, more than the outer external benefits, is what we're doing with Living Happy to Be Me.
And I just wanted to share another exciting piece about your work. It is now part of the curriculum. Could you just share that exciting news with us?
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a blessing! I as you said in the bio, my vision is that people learn this way of life as early as possible. You know, it took me in midlife crisis in my 40s to kind of figure out, well, what's going on here? Why is my life kind of look great on the outside but not feel so great on the inside for me? Why is it such a roller coaster ride of happiness, sadness, happiness, anger, happiness, frustration? And so I've created the workshop versions and the book versions into a curriculum, and we are piloting. I've partnered with the University of California, Irvine, and we have partnered, and I've created a 10-week curriculum. Actually, we're partnering to pilot it for an entire year, 4 quarters, broken down into 10-week intervals. And we just started the first class. It's called Living 101, Being Happy and Whole. And we're offering it to undergrads, and we've got a small cohort of students in right now, and we're just excited about growing that on campus. And the whole focus is life mastery. Like, how do young people start their lives transitioning from their households with their parents into college and off into their careers with this body of understanding and the tools and practices already a part of how they do life, rather than kind of bottling through life and then figuring out later.
I'm incredibly excited about that, and I'm thinking how different my results would have been, or how sooner my results would have been for me, if I had that teaching and learning available to me in my more informative years as a young student and a young adult going into the world, instead of fumbling through, having someone like yourself in your curriculum available to me. So kudos. I mean, this is exciting stuff.
Thank you. And it's come out of just my understanding. You know, I started teaching at the University of California in 2007, and I've been teaching on and off since as a lecturer in the business school for marketing, which has been my 35-year career. And in talking to the students, when they would come to me for office hours, or they would look me up online, they would see that I do more than just teach marketing. And so what they often wanted to talk to me about in my marketing office hours was personal stuff. The fear they feel, the stress they feel, how do they manage their parents? Like, my mom wants me to be a doctor, I want to be a writer. You know, should I not be? Like, what do I do? They're the choices they needed to make, rushing through their lives. I need to get a job now. Why? Well, because I need a job. Why? Like, all those kinds of conversations. And it really helped me see that what I was doing with my adult clients was really sorely needed with this whole group, this 15 to 25-year-old group, who, you know, there's data out there. Bullying is a big thing in college. Cyberbullying is still big in college. There's a lot of untreated depression and anxiety in college. Suicide is the #2 cause of death in college. There's a lot going on that is the antithesis of true happiness. And so to be able to have a partner like the University of California to pilot this program is spectacular. I'm so grateful. And I'm looking forward to our results, and we're looking at longitudinal and short-term results so that we can take this through the California system and beyond the world. What is it? To infinity and beyond.
Well, you know what? I'm right behind you there. Any way that we can help support, get that across, we're right there with you, because coming from my perspective, it's greatly needed. I have a daughter in university, and I hear the anxiety and the stress on a daily basis from her. And being her mom, of course, isn't going to me.
Funny how that works, huh?
So we have to bring some other bright light out there to put this message to us.
Well, and you know what? Don't stop what you're doing, because every single student that I've talked to, I think for the most part it's about 100%, tell me oftentimes something I say, they'll say, my mom said that, or my dad said that, and so they're getting it. They may not be listening to it until they hear me confirm it sometimes. You know, I was the same way. When I hear something beyond what my parents were telling me, then it was, oh, okay, I guess I should listen now. So keep doing what you're doing. We'll just work in tandem.
Okay. High five if I was.
Yes.
Well, Valerie, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us here today. It's such a needed topic out there as people are stressing through their lives as opposed to living their lives. So we'll continue to have this conversation, and I look forward to a brilliant book launch in the coming weeks. And we'll keep pushing this message out on your behalf.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for being here. I'm trusting that your audience will get something spectacular out of it, and I hope they'll come and play with us in the Heartful Awakening Circle.
Yes, thank you. And for our readers and listeners, thank you again for joining us here on Live Your Best Life, and to our guest, Valerie Sheppard. And please do make a point of visiting her online community at heartfulawakenings.com. This interview will be available soon, so keep in touch at downtownandaround.com. Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you, Pam. Many blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye.